Welcome everybody, and thank you for listening to the Better Bushcraft podcast, the place where you will learn the skills to succeed on your next outdoor adventure. My name is Tommy Clark, your host, and this is episode 18, Summer Bushcrafting. But before we get into today's topic, here's what's going on here at Better Bushcraft. I uploaded some new videos that I recorded the other day. There's 3 new ones for you guys to check out. And the first one is the ways to carry extra paracord. And in that I show you some simple, fun, neat projects that you can do just to carry extra paracord with you while you're out bushcrafting and just every day. So be sure to check that one out. I also put up a video about a great resource for bushcraft information. It's one of the sources that I use while I go out bushcrafting, and hopefully you guys get some good information from that and pick that up as well to help you along the way. And the last one that I have on there in the video section is building a basic bushcraft kit, and in that video I show you the essentials that you need to start bushcrafting in case if you are a beginner or someone that you know wants to get into it as well. So be sure to check them out on the website at betterbushcraft.com, or you can check them out on YouTube as well. Alright, I'm working on a few articles right now. I need to get some pictures taken, and those will be on the website. So be sure to check out the site for new content each week in the articles section. Let's see, a few projects that I'm working on. I'm going to be working on making a haversack that I've been wanting to do in the last few weeks. And I found the canvas that I needed, so it should be done this weekend or so. And I'll probably shoot a video over the finished project and show you how it went. So, you know, I wanted to make a haversack, so when I go scout around camp, I was going to use that just to collect some fire building materials such as different grasses and tinders and stuff like that, as well as, you know, wood, or if I'm going out and scouting for wild edibles or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to oilcloth the haversack yet or not. If any of you guys have done that before, I'd be interested to know how it went. So that's a project that I'm going to be working on, and I'll be shooting a video about that hopefully next week. So last thing before we get into today's topic is the question of the week, and that is, what level of bushcrafter are you? Do you consider yourself to be like a newbie, intermediate, or advanced bushcrafter? You know, I'd like everyone to spend a few minutes right away and send me an email to idea@betterbushcraft.com and let me know what level you consider yourself to be, and also how many years you have been doing bushcraft. You know, it's going to help me gear my show towards the audience to see where everybody's at. You know, if you have a lot of beginners, I'll do a lot more beginner stuff, or, you know, if there's some people that want to learn some advanced skills, I'll do that as well. So thanks in advance for that. So let's jump into today's main topic. Like I said, is summer bushcrafting, and I thought we'd go over it just because the summer is upon us, and I don't know how it is where you guys live, but it's very hot here in Kansas. You know, the last few weeks have been in the hundreds pretty much consistently, and you know, the evenings get pretty nice still, though. They get down to the low to mid 70s. So, but the heat shouldn't keep you away from the woods. So I figure we'll go over some summer bushcrafting tips and information that some of you might already know, but it's good to brush up on this stuff just in case you might have forgotten, or if you didn't know it in the first place. So, you know, the first thing that you need to consider about bushcrafting in the summer, especially in the hot places here in the States or wherever you live, is the dangers of the heat. You know, there's heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and dehydration are key things to consider when it comes to the summer. And they can all be avoided if you keep aware of how you feel and your companions as well. So not only do you need to look after yourself, but if you go out bushcrafting with a few buddies, you need to keep, you know, a track of how they look, how they're acting, and really just build a buddy system on that. A lot of times, you know, especially guys, they try to, you know, think that they can go further than they can, and then you're going to have problems when they start dropping. So here are a few reminders to have a good time bushcrafting without being in danger of these ailments. The first thing that we're going to consider is hydration. Obviously, hydration is key. So you need to be drinking plenty of water and think ahead of time. And what I usually do is bring extra water with me. in the fall or winter or spring, I mean, I take water with me, but I don't bring a whole bunch. But in the summer, it's a good idea to, if you have like a hydration bladder that you throw in your pack or something. I usually don't use mine, but in the summer I make sure that's full, as well as my canteen and the other cups that I have. And I might even bring a few extra jugs of water with me if I'm not going out too far from wherever I park my vehicle. It's a good idea just to hike that stuff up there with you, not only for the immediate effect of having all the extra water, but as you go through that gallon of water or whatever, you can gather more water and get it treated or what have you, and then fill it up. So you always have a continuous system of having water there just in case. And if you have enough water with you, you need to do some other things as well, such as sip on your water like every 20 minutes or so. Even if you don't feel thirsty, just sip some water, and it's going to help you in the long run. So water is the key to hydration. So if you're a coffee drinker or something like that, don't drink too much of that. And along those lines, if you drink alcohol, that's really not a good idea, especially in that heat, because that will dehydrate you. And one of the things to think about is if you stop sweating, then you need to drink. And if you're feeling kind of weird, if you get headaches, that's an early indicator that you are dehydrated and you need to drink some water. But don't chug too much at one time. I've seen that happen before. People say, oh man, I'm really thirsty, and they just down their canteen like within a few seconds. And that's really not the best way to do it for several different reasons. Your body absorbs water better if you just sip on it, as well as if you chug too much water at one time and you are dehydrated, there's a chance that you're going to just throw it all up and you lost all that liquid there. So just keep in mind how much water you're bringing, and maybe bring some extra with you, and always have it on hand. Don't drink all your water and like, oh man, we need to go collect some water now. That's really not the time to do it. So that's enough about the hydration. Most of you guys already know that part. Moving on to shade and cover. It's a really good idea to get in the shade to do most of your tasks and away from direct sunlight. So when you get to your bushcraft camp, and if there's not much shade, it's a good idea to throw your tarp up and build some shade. That way when you're preparing your fire or working on something, just sitting there and working on stuff in the shade will do a whole lot of good for you, to just take away a lot of that direct sunlight beating on you constantly, and that really zaps all your energy. So make sure you do that. Now along the same lines, your clothing is a big part of the factor when it comes to how you feel. Wear light colored clothing. Obviously, you don't be wearing blacks and dark browns, which I like in the fall and winter. But wear light colors, either white or tans or beige colors. And along the same lines, protect your head. So you can wear a brimmed hat or a bandana or something like that, just to keep that sunlight from just beating down on your head and your neck area. Some of you guys like to wear long sleeves, so light colored long sleeve shirts work well also. Just keep in mind that how your body feels, and if you're feeling like you're getting too hot, might want to take off some of the layers of clothing, jump in the pond or lake, where have you, and kind of cool off for a while. Alright, so moving on to nutrition. And, when you're outside in 100-degree heat or whatever, you're not very hungry. You just don't feel like eating at all. But you really need to keep eating some small meals. If you're not going to eat as much food as you usually do, like in the fall or winter, because your body's not needing those extra calories to keep itself, at that stable temperature. But, just eat some small meals and snack every few hours, on nuts and seeds and dried fruit and stuff like that. So and I should have put this with the hydration part, but drink plenty of water with each meal, because it takes water to digest food. So whenever you eat something, your body is taking some of that liquid from the water from your body to help digest that. So you need to be drinking water every time you eat. And some other ideas that I usually do just to get some extra nutrition and vitamins and minerals in me is to just bring some limes or lemons or oranges for some extra vitamin C. Not only does it give you energy, but it's also really good for your body, and it makes everything taste great, by the way. If you just squirt some lemon on your fish or whatever, it tastes great, good for your body, keeps your body hydrated. It's a little bit more extra hydration. But, you may need to take some multivitamins before you go out just to make sure your body has everything it needs. And get in your electrolytes. And an easy way to do that is just get some powdered packets that, whatever you like, either Powerade or if you go to like a health food store, you can get some electrolyte packets and stuff like that. And it's really good to keep like your salt levels and everything in check that way too. So make sure your nutrition is a part of this whole plan that you have while you're out bushcrafting in the summer. Moving on, activity levels. You need to take it easy in the summer. It's really easy to get exhausted, so try your best not to exhaust yourself. If you are going out there and you're going to practice using a fire bow or a fire drill or something like that, a bow drill and stuff like that, in the heat and the direct sunlight, and it's your first time, you are going to exhaust yourself so quickly. Not only are you going to get tired, but it might not work because you're going to be sweating all over the board, and it's just not going to work too well. So just keep in mind what you're doing. Take extra time if needed to get a task done. I see a lot of people, they try to throw their camp together real quickly because they want to move on to other tasks, which is great, but they just get so tired and exhausted, and then that's when you start getting dehydrated and stuff like that. So just plan your activities according to how the heat is outside and just take it easy. Along the same lines, breaks. Take breaks more often. Just sit in the shade and relax. That's bushcrafting isn't meant to be, so taxing on you, and it's always, I got to do something. A lot of times I get in that mentality is where I got to be doing something productive, especially in summer. Just, sit and relax in the shade. It's a good time to catch up with some buddies, just talk about, how the week's been, things that they've been working on, new skills that they learned. Or if you're out by yourself or you guys have nothing to talk about, it's always good just to learn new skills. Like bring a book with you, some type of bushcrafting or survival book, and just pick out a project that you could do sitting down in the shade and work on that. Or you could just play games, card games or anything like that. Just take a break for 30 minutes or so and then get back out there and work on the things that you need to finish for the day. But other than heat, here's a few more tips for the summer. Obviously, you're going to want to bring some repellent for the mosquitoes and ticks and other bugs like that. So make sure you always have repellent with you. All right, so that's the whole warnings and things like that with the heat of the summer. But, summer can be a great time to bushcraft. And here are a few of my favorite bushcrafting activities that I do, especially in the summer. Fishing. Fishing isn't the greatest in the summer. Obviously, if you're a fisherman, you know that. Spring and the fall time is usually best. But, you could work on new ways to catch fish. I like to set out some bank lines or even just bring my collapsible pole and go fishing. It's a great relaxing activity, especially if you have some shade. Just sit there, watch your bobber, and chat with your friend or whatever. And if you do happen to catch a fish, new ways to prepare fish, you can work on filleting, getting better at that, different seasonings and ways to cook it. And also, it's a good time just to find bait. There's always, you could dig for earthworms or stuff like that, but you can go out and find crickets and grasshoppers that you can use as bait as well. And if you're not really a big fisherman or you don't really like to eat fish or you're catching too much, which is always a fun problem to have, you could always do catch and release. Just working on your skills, different areas to fish. Especially if you go to like the same areas, you can try different places like fishing in coves in the middle of the lake along different banks and just kind of keeping track, maybe writing a notebook how the fish are doing, just keeping tabs on what time of the day, and just make a log of the fishing activity, and maybe you can use that to your advantage in the future. So another thing that I like to do is just practice snares, something easy that you can do in the shade. You could be sitting down and it doesn't take too much energy, and it's fun just to set up snares and deadfalls for practice. So you could be sitting there working on different snare loops and different techniques, and also if you have some like logs or heavy stones or what have you, just to practice different deadfalls for practice. But a tip on that, be sure you take it down if you're not really wanting to use it for catching stuff, because you most likely will, especially if you're not wanting to. That always happens that way. But make sure you take them down, especially if it's illegal to do so. Another thing I like to do is carving. You can make useful items or carving pieces for a game. I thought about doing that the next time I have a couple hours, just carving some like chest pieces and just having them done. And if they're done in a few months, that's great. And then you can play Bushcraft chess, or something cool like that. So it's just nice to relax in the shade and carve up some new items, just kind of whittle away while you're talking or thinking about different things. So another thing I like to do in the summer that doesn't take too much energy is collecting tinder. Just go around and just finding different resources that you have, different types of trees or different types of plants that have died or what have you. And just collect tinder or different edibles, identifying plants and trees for medicinal use. That's a lot of fun because, plants and trees go through different transformations, if you will, in different seasons. So you might know how to identify plants, especially in the spring with the flowers blooming and all that. But in the summer, when you don't have all that, it's a good idea to still go out there and identify different things and realize their use in case you ever need it in the future for like medicinal use if someone gets sick, or even for edibility if they're edible, and just collecting them, identifying them, and trying to use them. So, and another thing I like to do is just different projects in general, flipping through my books that I bring out there, picking out a project to work on it in camp. I'm always going to try using different things at different times. I'm always learning and trying some stuff. Sometimes it doesn't work, but that's okay. I'm not really relying on it to work because I bring everything that I need, but it's just kind of cool to try out new stuff. And I think the next time I go out, I'm going to try making a Bushcraft bow and arrow set. I'm not quite sure how well it's going to go. I saw some really cool videos about this on YouTube. So I'm going to try to find, different things to make some arrows, maybe get some stone and try some knapping and make it all natural Bushcraft bow and arrow set. But, you could pick out projects that won't be exhausting, such as making pot holders, different utensils like forks and spoons or bowls. You can make baskets, tent pegs. A Dakota stove is really cool. And different types of clay working. If you have mud or clay that will harden in the sun, you can make different things like that as well. And that way you can just leave it at your bushcraft camp, and you might use it in the future just for fun. Some other things that you could do is make a all-natural pot scrubber, weaving natural cordage. There's hundreds to choose from the project realm. So just bring out your books or research some stuff before you go out, and then work on them in the shade. And it's a lot of fun, and it's something cool to show other people, which is my other thing, is teaching. The summer is a great time to bring out someone new and teach them the basics, simply because a whole lot of people have a lot of time off. Vacations are coming up and all that, and they're going camping anyways. It's really cool just to teach them some bushcrafting stuff to further their enjoyment, if you will, in the outdoors. So you can just demonstrate different projects and have them try it out. Just help them along the way. If they never started a fire using a fire steel or Fresnel lens, which works amazing in the summer, obviously, you can show them how to do it and then help them do it, and then see how well they do. Because this is really what it's all about. And it's really enjoyable to see other people succeed and have fun and realize that they can do things outdoors that they never knew that they could. So the summer is a great time to teach people while they're out camping. And like I said, the summer is also really great for solar ignition, such as using a magnifying glass or something like that. Solar water treatment, putting water in a Ziploc baggie, like a 1-gallon bag, and letting the UV rays treat the water. I also boil it afterwards just to be sure, but you could do that. And solar navigation and telling the time using the sun. If you've never done that, it's really cool to do it, especially in the summer because the sun is usually always out. So, and there's many more projects to do in the summer, but those are some of the basics. So today's podcast was a little bit shorter than normal, but I just wanted to give you guys some ideas. And if you have any other great tips or tricks that we'd like to share with the Better Bushcraft community, please send me an email to idea@betterbushcraft.com, and I will bring it up in the next series. That's really what this community here is all about, and I thank you in advance for that. All right, guys, so that's the show. As always, check us out on betterbushcraft.com, also on YouTube and Twitter. Thanks for listening, and until next time, go out and practice your bushcraft. You guys take care.